Today I'm going to talk about how to use metal leaf or gold leaf in your abstract acrylic paintings. So you're going to need a few things in order to do it. First of all, Mona Lisa makes a wonderful set, and you can buy these sets in several different finishes. So there is the silver leaf, which I've used before and I like very much. There is the more traditional gold leaf, and then I also have here some copper leaf. You will find that when you get the leaf, it's in these little packets that are protected with plastic and some wax paper, and you want to make sure you keep them in there because it's really delicate. Other really good tips to know about working with metal leaf is that be sure all the fans are turned off and even close the windows, because when you start working with it, it flies away really easily. So let's get started. So what you need is the actual leaf. You also will need the adhesive. So this adhesive is what you paint on your painting surface and what the metal leaf will stick onto. And then you need the sealer, and this will seal the leaf so it doesn't oxidize. This is really important. You can't use any other water-based varnish. You have to use this product. You will need a hard bristle cheap brush to apply the adhesive. And so this one, it doesn't have to be hard bristle, but that's just what I prefer. But I would just use a cheap brush or one that you definitely clean really well right afterwards so you don't ruin it. And then you'll also need a really soft bristle brush. This is a soft watercolor / acrylic brush. Really important to have, you'll see why later, but we're going to be brushing off the gold leaf. And so we don't want to scratch the gold leaf, and that's why you need a really soft bristle brush. So definitely read all the instructions before you get started. I'll just quickly summarize. So first you want to make sure your painting is free and clear of any dust or dirt or anything like that. So just get maybe a paper towel, just give it a quick once over. And then you're going to get the adhesive, and wherever we paint the adhesive is where it's going to stick on the painting. Okay, the directions say to stir the adhesive, so I'm just going to get a plastic palette knife here and give that a really nice stir. Don't shake it up, probably it will cause air bubbles. So just give it a really nice stir, and then go ahead and wipe off your palette knife, and you will be ready to go. What you'll find is the adhesive is a little bit watery. I'm going to go ahead and paint with the adhesive standing up like this on my easel. You could also lay it flat, but you'll be able to see better if I keep it up, and I don't mind if it drips down a little bit. So I'm putting my brush into the adhesive here, and again, it's a totally clean brush, and I will just go ahead and paint on. I'm kind of hitting up there. This is a very textured painting, and I'm just sort of like kind of dry brushing almost on some of these textured areas. Also painting in this area here around the rule of thirds just below it to sort of bring a focal point to this area in the painting. So I think I'll just actually hug that whole edge of this little form I have here. Okay, and you don't need a ton. I'm just making sure it's on where I want it. And notice I'm painting it on like I actually paint. So we're kind of scumbling a little bit. I'm not really perfectly putting it on really thickly because I don't want it to fill in every little spot. So I'm gonna have it here, and then let's put a little bit up there too. And that's it. So now we need to let this dry. So what it says on the directions is that it takes 20 to 40 minutes to set. And because I live in a really dry climate here in Santa Fe, I'm going to wait just 20 minutes. I've done that in the past and it worked just fine. So this sits for 20 minutes. I'm setting a timer, and then after that 20 minutes is when I can press on the gold leaf. While you're waiting for it to dry, go ahead and wash your brush really well so that you don't ruin your brush. So I'm almost at the 20-minute point now, so I figured before we get there, I want to tell you a few things. So first, again, be sure that you close all the windows and turn off a fan, any fans you might have on, and then make sure you cleaned your brush that you used for the adhesive. The next thing you want to do is go ahead and take out a sheet of the gold leaf. So I have some older pieces here. And if you don't want it to be really perfect and have a little bit of like striation, you could use like an older piece. Or if you want it to be a little bit more blocky, you would pick something like this. So I think to start off with, let's try it out here with this used piece. And so it's not too perfect with how it goes on here. So at this point, I'm taking the gold leaf and I'm going to press it in the areas where I know I had the adhesive. Okay, and so it's a little hard to see with the light, but that did actually go on. Let's keep going. So I'm going to put some more here. And again, you can see I'm just rubbing, doing little circles and really pressing it in there. And it's not covering the whole entire thing. It is just putting, so there you go, you can see it here, right? Okay. Now I think I want it to be a little bit more solid down there at the, where I just did it. So I'm going to take off my next sheet here. So there's a little piece of wax paper that it will sort of static electricity keeps it sticking to. And so we want to just rip off this top piece, and I want to leave this on the bottom here. Okay, I've got my scissors here and I'm just cutting off this piece because I know that I'm going to use most of it. So I'll just go ahead and just cut that all off here. Okay, and again, it should be sticking to the paper. And let's go a little bit, we want to get a little bit more coverage here. Wow, look at that. That really stuck well, didn't it? Okay, so I'll put it down here. Okay, so you can see it just comes right off this little plastic thing. And it's time for our soft brush now too, to go ahead and just get rid of some of this. So I'm catching it here. If you had your painting flat, maybe the other option is do it flat, and then it just falls on the piece here, and then you can put it elsewhere. Okay, so now I will carefully, okay, it's really sticking pretty well here. Okay, so let's, I'm gonna use another piece of gold leaf and I'm gonna get the other side. Okay, I'm pulling off a little bit less this time. So I have this much sticking to this little plastic thing, and let's go ahead and put it here. You can use the plastic or the wax paper, and it seems to work pretty well. So I'm gonna get this piece here that has less on it just to sort of maybe add a few more interesting details that aren't so solid. And let's just see, because I know I had a little bit there. I remember I had some up here. So maybe that part wants some thicker gold leaf. And it won't stick where you don't have the adhesive. So don't worry too much. Once we get in with the soft brush, it will remove anything that didn't have adhesive on it first. And I can see on this edge, I could use more. So let's see if I have enough. The good thing about sort of starting this process at the earlier end of the adhesive dry time is that it gives you a little bit more open time, right, for the adhesive to work. If you wait until 40 minutes to start doing this, then it might get too dry. So again, if you live in a more humid place, you might need to do closer to 30 or 40 minutes. Okay, great. You can see where the leaf is, all right? So now we're going to brush it off with the soft bristle brush. And I'm just going to tilt my canvas a little bit here so it's just falling down. And we don't want to scratch the gold leaf, so that's why we're using this really nice soft brush. It's probably not worth trying to save these little teeny things that just are coming off here. And so I would, if I were you, I would just go ahead and shake this off on, you could shake it off on a palette and then try to save it or just call it a day. Now that we have the gold leaf on the canvas, and I'm happy with the application. Certainly you can go back in and add more adhesive and add more leaf if you'd like it. But I would recommend not going too overboard with gold leaf because it is so beautiful. It's really alluring, but we don't want to overdo it, right? So maybe keep it to a minimum. And you can see in my piece, I'm just going to turn it here. I've got it up here and then down here, and that's plenty. So then the next step would be to spray with the sealer. And this is a really important part. If you don't spray with the sealer, this will tarnish over time. So this will be really not very attractive at all. So this is a very important step. The directions on the back say that you could try a polyurethane spray if you wanted to, but for me, I would just prefer to use the product that you're supposed to use. So I would shake it up really well and then go outside. Preferably wear a mask, one of the paint masks, because it is spray paint. It's a spray sealer. You're going to be putting, pretty toxic fumes out into the environment. So I'm not going to spray this indoors here, but shake it up for probably a good minute or so. And then just like if you're fixing a charcoal drawing, if you've ever done that before, you want to just spray and go back and forth and just make sure you're covering the areas where you have the leaf. Now, one thing that you might notice, you might see the sealer there. So you might, I might actually spray this whole entire thing, even though the gold leaf is only in these little spots, because I think that this surface right now, it's really matte, and I think that I would be able to see the sealant. So I'll just make it consistent and uniform. It does say to do about 3 layers, 3 applications, and you want to wait 15 minutes between each layer. Also, it says do not handle for 24 hours. So once you finish your 3rd spray of the varnish, then you want to just let the painting sit for 24 hours. Don't mess with it. Don't pack it and ship it. Just let it sit and be still, and then it should be good to go. Another safety consideration when you're using this varnish is that you might want to wear plastic gloves, because when you're spraying, it'll probably get in your fingers. It does say that it's an acrylic product, but doesn't mean it's safe. So again, the mask, the gloves, and you should be well protected when using this product. Another quick tip is that when you spray outside, make sure you're spraying away from the wind. So if I'm spraying my painting here, and the wind is coming towards me, then this will spray into my face, especially a problem if you don't have the mask on, the double respirator. So the wind should be blowing in the direction of the painting. If it is blowing at all, try to find a wall outside where it's blocking the wind so you don't have to worry about that. But once again, always play it safe with these products. If you'd like to learn more about color and composition, check out my course, Abstraction Beyond Boundaries. In the online pre-recorded course, I show you how to mix colors like a pro, teach you 6 eye-catching composition types, and provide you with many techniques and tools to make your abstract painting stand out. Through slides on art vocabulary and multiple demonstration videos, you will be armed with all the resources you need to make abstract painting flow easily. To learn more about the course, click on the link below in the description.